The Maori, a rich and cherished culture at the world's edge. New Zealand was one of the last landmasses to be colonized by humans. When Pleistocene megafauna had gone extinct elsewhere in the world, New Zealand was still inhabited by the moas, giant flightless birds that were hunted by early Maori settlers. Origins of the Maori culture. The Maori likely originate from East Polynesia near the Society Islands and the southern Cook Islands. In Maori legends, the Maori homeland is a place called Hawaii, which appears to be at least semi-mythical. The Maori first arrived in New Zealand around 1300 AD or a little earlier. Since New Zealand, or as the Maori call it, Aotearoa, represented the southwestern edge of the known world to the Polynesians of the 13th and 14th centuries, the Maori could be considered a people living at the world's edge. Early Maori history. At the time of the Maori arrival, New Zealand was covered in forests inhabited by primordial beasts. It was cooler than the Polynesian homeland of the Maori, which meant that some staple Polynesian crops were more difficult to grow there or simply could not be grown, such as breadfruit, coconut, and banana. By the 18th century, the Maori had established stable farming communities across New Zealand and were divided up into tribes, called iwi. The most high-status individuals in ancient Maori society were the chiefs, followed by commoners and slaves. Maori history after the arrival of Europeans. The Maori began to trade with Europeans in earnest in the 19th century. Some of the most important European trade goods among the Maori were pigs and potatoes. Beginning in the 20th century, the Maori began to revive their culture and integrate into Pākehā, white European, society without losing their heritage. There are over 500,000 Maori people living today. Most of them live in urban areas. Core concepts in Maori society. Since the Maori are descended from Polynesian voyagers who settled the islands in the 13th or 14th century, the Maori have many social, metaphysical, and religious concepts in common with other Polynesian groups. These concepts include mana and tapu. Mana is not identical from culture to culture, but it is a concept that is ubiquitous across Oceania. New Zealand is no exception. In Maori tradition, mana is related to prestige and authority. Tapu is a word that essentially means sacred. Objects or people that are tapu are considered set aside for the gods and off limits to all but certain individuals such as tohunga. Maori religion. The traditional Maori religion was essentially polytheistic. The Maori believed that the world was created by the gods, Atua. Their pantheon included, among other deities, a sky father, an earth mother, a god of forests, and a god of warfare. Taing, the god of forests, played an important role in the creation of humans by making the first woman. During the colonial period, many Maori adopted Christianity. In the mid-19th century, numerous Maori Christians used their faith as a justification for resisting the British government, as the British encroached on their ancestral lands. Maori art and tattoo culture. The traditional art forms in ancient Maori society were weaving, sculpting, tattoos, dance, and singing. A particularly important Maori art form is tamoko, tattoo art. Maori tattoos consist of spiral designs made from grooves or scars cut into the skin. Tamoko has its origins in mourning rituals. Over time, it became an indicator of status. Men received tattoos across their entire faces while women received them on the chins. Maori cultural dances. Two other important and closely related art forms in Maori society are song and dance. A common example is haka. Haka is a class of dances involving lively movements with the body accompanied by chanting and energetic vocalizations. There are several different types which vary in style and form depending on their purpose. The future of Maori culture. The Maori are one of the many indigenous cultures that have been able to thrive, relatively, in the aftermath of European colonization. Even 2 centuries after the arrival of the Pākehā, the Maori have retained many aspects of their culture and are continuing to grow in number and influence in New Zealand society. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks.